Yes, you saw that title correctly, or even the thumbnail. Ronny Mauricio is officially him. Ronny Mauricio is a player to look out for this spring training, especially since he is a highly rated prospect in the Mets farm system and has kind of continued to be a little bit underrated. Now, why is he highly rated and underrated? Well, it's because he isn't rated as high for his performance value, but he should be, if that makes sense. The question going into spring training is whether his experience from the Dominican Winter League really mattered when it came to the big leagues. If you don't know anything about this kid, let me tell you his stats from the Dominican Winter League right now. The dude batted a 287, a 335, a 468 with an OPS of 803. It's exactly where you're hoping your prospect who has played only up to AA is eventually going to end up. The dude had 5 home runs and 31 RBIs. He ended up winning the Dominican Winter League MVP, and now he's been the talk of Mets world for the last couple of months. And of course for different reasons. People thought he was going to be a trade piece for the Mets this offseason, and the Mets haven't really shown that they wanted to give him up so far. Now, of course, people can talk up the Dominican Winter League not being up to the real MLB standards, and of course how these successful numbers won't correlate, but ever since the start of spring training, he has continued to be even better than how he was performing in the DR Winter League. In the DR Winter League, the dude had 5 home runs. In this league now, he has had 3 in the last 4 games. Insane to think about if you really take a look back at it. Now, why is this insane? Well, because in the DR League, the guy had around 200 at-bats, and in only 7 at-bats in spring training so far, he has hit half of his home runs, or 60% of his home runs that he had in the Dominican Winter League. As of today, like I said, on March 1st, he has hit over 3 home runs in the last 4 games, and he has played for the Metropolitans. He has contributed to 5 RBIs as well. The kid hit a ball around 450 feet. Like, that's really crazy to think about, especially if the stadium isn't like Coors Field or anything like that. Now, like I said, it's super early into spring training. These numbers will eventually even out, and you won't have a 2.214 OPS, I promise you, at the end of spring training. But it would be cool if it was true, I'm not gonna lie. However, he has yet to really get to see a lot of starts in spring training, mostly because Francisco Lindor is trying to absorb most of the starts right now because he's getting ready to go off and play for Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic. Go Puerto Rico, that's all I'm saying. Now, I think at the end of the day, when Francisco Lindor ends up leaving, Ron's gonna get a lot of time and a lot of play at shortstop just because the Mets probably really want to see what he can do. Buck had this to say about Mauricio's recent success.
Mauricio clean up on opening day?
He's like a lot of our young players are off to a good start in the spring. So I'm proud of him.
I think what Buck's saying is true. The Mets young stars have had some really crazy success lately. I mean, look at Brett Baty. The dude is batting 500 and is continuing to prove why he can be an everyday third baseman for the Mets in years to come. I really think Brett Baty is going to win out position at third base, and I think he's going to actually split playing time with Eduardo Escobar during the beginning of the MLB 2023 season. Now, of course, I'm a bit biased just because I've really enjoyed watching this kid play. I loved watching his debut game when he first came up with the Mets in 2022, and I'm kind of invested in this dude's story. However, I think this correlates to the rest of what Buck is saying. The Mets have a really good young core going for them, especially when you have big league starting pitchers that are stuck in the minor leagues like Tylor and McGill. However, this is a video about Mauricio. This isn't going to be in depth on the Mets farm system or their young players. I kind of just wanted to get on here and speak to Mauricio's kind of success so far in spring training. I'm really interested to see what the Mets will do with him just because we know Lindor is going to be there for the next foreseeable years. I'm interested to see if Mauricio ends up going to a different position just so he could get up in the big leagues, and I don't know what he would do because if the bat's there, the Mets are going to want him. I don't think they're going to slot him into a DH spot if the bat's there because you still have someone like Francisco Alvarez and you still have someone like Vogelback just waiting there in your DH position, and Darren Ruff. I don't know where Darren Ruff is. We all know Mets fans don't want Darren Ruff, but he still exists. I know a lot of Mets YouTubers like Wardynym or even Shea Station has been referencing Mauricio as a very valuable trade piece for the coming months. I think Mauricio is very valuable just because of his age. First of all, he's only 21 years old. The kid has had only a little fraction of time in the minor league system, and I think any team that is needing a shortstop for the future, and if the guy continues to do really well in AA next year, maybe they promote him to AAA during the year in 2023, if he's doing really well, I could see Mauricio going into some blockbuster trade at this trade deadline. I think if any team, like for example the Angels, if the Angels want a shortstop, Shohei Ohtani is on the freaking chopping block and he's getting traded, he's going to the Angels, man. I think Mauricio is putting himself into a really good position to either get traded or even play even sooner in the big leagues. Also, the dude is barely in his peak or prime of his years. I think in a couple months or 2 years from now, this dude will end up with a big league club no matter which way you look at it. I just genuinely have no clue who it's going to be with. I think if he doesn't end up as a big piece with the Mets for years to come, like I said, he's going to eventually get shipped off in some type of blockbuster deal, because I think a lot of GMs would want this kid as their future at their shortstop position. Mets fans, tell me down in the comment section down below. I know this is a shorter video, but I genuinely want to know your guys' opinions. Do you guys think this guy can crack the Mets roster after spring training, or is it too early to tell? Maybe I'm drinking too much of Mauricio Kool-Aid. I don't know. Tell me right now. I really think the Mets have a bright future ahead of them, especially with Baty and Mauricio in their farm system. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. My name's Joe. Have a great day, night, or day whenever you're watching this. Bye.